What's going on, everybody? The Original Mako back with another Grand Archive video, and today we're going to be talking about all the ways you can get into this game as a new player and all of the things available. And there's just so much. As I was looking into it more, there really is something for everybody in Grand Archive. So if you're new and you're interested in any of the sections we're going to talk about today, there's casual, collectors, the lore junkies, competitive players, and the community of the game. If you're interested in any of that as a new player and you want to hop into any of those sections, feel free. It should be timestamped down below. As always, if you enjoy the content, be sure to like and subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the content coming your way. Spoiler season for Phantom Monarchs is right around the corner, and you better believe we are going to be covering that as the spoilers come out. So that being said, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and I really appreciate it, as always. So let's go ahead and hop into the first section here, which is casual. So for the casual player, maybe you're not looking to hop in directly. You're a new player to the game, you think it looks interesting, but you don't want to really go deep into competitive or collecting yet. You want to start easy, start slow, and maybe work your way into one of those sections. So for the casual player, they do have the very typical standard starter decks that you can find for around 10 bucks. Somewhere between 10 and 20 usually. There's a good amount of them. We've got, CL, Sylvie, Jin, Kongming, Diana, Rai, Lorraine, a lot of starter decks to choose from. Some of them may be harder to find than others, but it provides an out-of-the-box, ready-to-play deck. Picking up one of these for you and a friend to just sit down and casually play the game, that could be one of the best ways to start. See if you like the gameplay. See if you like how it flows, how it feels, if you like the interactions, if you like the keywords. That's exactly how me and my friend got into the game, is by just picking up 2 starter decks, playing it, and we really, really enjoyed the gameplay. The cool thing about the starter decks as well is that not only could it jumpstart you into starting to think about the game more competitively because you really enjoy how it plays, how it feels, whatever, but it could also possibly jumpstart you into wanting to be a collector, because starter decks and any of the starter products that Grand Archive has, the Recollection decks as well, have a chance to come with an exclusive CSR card, and that is what this is right here. It is a collector's super rare card. The starter deck ones can only come in the starter decks, so they're sometimes even more exclusive, but I mean, I don't know of any other. It's hard to compete with Grand Archive's art for their, just in general, but especially for their collector's cards. The CSRs are so beautiful. They've got the gold stamp signatures on them, and just once again, extremely cool cards, and something that any collector would want to have in their arsenal. So that's the coolest thing, I think, about the casual play. You get one of these starter decks, you learn how to play the game. Maybe you enjoy it so much that you want to start doing some competitive stuff, which we'll talk about later. But it could also, if you happen to pull a CSR, you could be like, man, I want more of these. And you could jump into collecting. So next section we're going to get into here is the collectors. If you want to start collecting Grand Archive, you're new, and you're like, does this game have some collectability? You bet it does. Once again, not only just beautiful cards, but extremely exclusive cards like this collector's ultra rares, the CURs, which are serialized. As you can see, Alice here, there were 72 of them. So not only do you get the good art, there's a lot of exclusivity as well to it. And the even better part, in my opinion, compared to some other games, is there are no separate, collector's boosters or any sort of extra collector's sets or anything that costs extra money. All of these can be pulled from the standard booster boxes, standard booster packs all of these can be pulled, which, to be fair, is some, high-end whale collectors might be like, well, I would kind of like an exclusive thing, but I really like the fact that anybody can kind of turn into a collector because of the way that it works, and you don't have to spend extra money if you don't want to get a product that has a higher chance of getting any of these cards. It's all on the same playing field, and I really like that as as someone who can't drop an insane amount of money on like collector's editions and Magic and stuff like that. It's really cool to be able to get the high-end chase cards straight from the sets themselves. So in the past, you had the collector super rares, the collector ultra rares, which were kind of the big collector items in terms of cards. But coming up in the next set, Phantom Monarchs, we're also going to have these looking glass sights, which are very similar in drop rate. I'm using video game lingo now. Very similar in pull rate to a collector super rare. I think it's slightly less common to get one of these than a CSR, but once again, just gorgeous cards. I mean, absolutely amazing art. There's all of the sites. We've got Umbra Sight, Arcane Sight, Astra Sight. There's Exia Sight. All of the sites have one, and those will be coming out in the next set. So it's another added layer for collectors, which is really cool. And to my understanding, it does not take up like the CSR slot in the packs. So you could pull, Looking Glass Sight, a CSR. You can pull all sorts of fun stuff in the next set, which is really, really cool. So I'm glad they added another extra layer of collector cards for all of the collectors out there. And maybe some of the collectors aren't as excited because that's even more now. These are going to be probably pretty expensive cards, if I had to guess. But yeah, once again, super cool, really awesome. And there is a fantastic secondary marketplace for this game. Merlin's Marketplace is a great Discord server for buying and selling singles and other merchandise that you as a collector might want to collect, such as playmats. This is a very nice Fracturized SP3 art playmat. And there's all sorts of other playmats and all sorts of other things on Merlin's Marketplace to buy. If you don't want to, try to pull the CSRs, it's a great place to buy them there and sell as well if you have duplicates or what have you. So Merlin's Marketplace is probably the best place for collectors to go if they want to be filling out their collection. The link to that will be in the description below. So plenty of stuff for collectors. So this game has very high collectability and a very healthy secondary marketplace for those collectors as well to buy, sell, and trade. So very cool, very awesome stuff there. Next, we're going to talk about the lore junkies. You want to get into this game because maybe it has a great story. How do you know? Maybe you want to see what the story's like first, the lore, the characters. How in depth is it? Do they really show any, care about the lore? And you bet they do. If you want to get into the story and the interactions between champions and why they're all here, what's going on, all of that stuff, then they have a great set of sections on their website for you to do that. Maybe you want to read into it and then based on what you're reading, be like, oh, that champion sounds super cool. I want to play that champion. If you want to start with the lore, they have great place to do that on their website. So when you go to the Grand Archive website, right here, they've got a story tab that goes through all of the different main sets so far and a little intro with the homeworld. So Dawn of Ashes, their first main set, then Alchemical Revolution, Moral Ambition, and Distorted Reflections. It goes through, it talks about the locations, it talks about, as you can see here, factions, a lot of the lore of the area. It's got the champion, this links to champion articles here. So if you click and want to read more about the champion, get a story, you can go through that. If you go to just the articles section, you can find some of the other champion stories. We just had a Diana one not too long ago. And you've got some of these, CL one, Diana one. You've got all of these different lore and very cool story pieces and story notes that they hit. And it makes it very immersive for sure. They do a great job with the story. And as you're playing the game, you could be playing a character and remember something you read from the story. It just makes it fun and immersive and exciting. And they have all sorts of stuff on here for, once again, plenty of stuff for anybody who's looking to really get into the lore and understand what the Grand Archive world even is, and why it's here, what it's here for, all the champions, that kind of stuff. So it's absolutely fantastic. So if you're looking to get into the lore, this is a great place to start. Next, we're going to go into the competition, the competitive side of Grand Archive, and there is all sorts of stuff to talk about here because this is where I jumped into after starting with the starter decks. I wanted to start playing a little bit more competitively. So obviously, I would recommend starting with just a good how to play guide. Main deck has a really good one that you can see on screen here. The Grand Archive TCG channel has a very quick, just straightforward how to play, 6-minute to the point. But both of those are very good videos. This one gets a little more in depth if you want to get a little more in depth to start. But then my recommendation is, once again, this is for new players, right? So if you're coming into the game new and you want to just start jumping into competition, I would recommend picking up a recollection deck. These are a step above the starter decks where, starter decks, they just have the deck, and that's it. Recollection decks have the deck. They have a full play set of the cards in that deck. So if the deck is only running 2 of a certain card, you'll get the extra 2 in a separate pack as well, which is very, very nice. Comes with 100 sleeves themed around the champion, and a damage counter in there, as well as the box itself is pretty much a deck box, which is very nice and very convenient. And 3 packs from the booster packs from the set that the deck came out with. So it comes with a lot of really good stuff. But the biggest reason I think to start here is that these decks, and I guess right now, currently, the Tristan, there's 4 recollection decks. The Tristan recollection and the Guojia recollection decks are probably the best ones if you want just the most pieces for just a competitive deck out of the box. That's probably where to start. I think right now, out of the box, I think Tristan is probably at the top. Now, all of them need some adjustments and some upgrades to be at the highest level of competition. But if you just want to start, playing at some locals and seeing if you like the competitive part of the game, then these are a great place to start. I will say the Dao Chan one specifically really struggles without upgrades. So that would be one to maybe steer away from. Also important to note that the Sylvie Recollection deck comes with a card that is banned now. So if you get the Sylvie one, you will have to replace that banned card. Baby Gray Slime is the banned card in question. So, but it's hard to get more value than these Recollection decks. You could also get the Recollection deck Lights, which basically is just the deck plus the extra cards, I believe. You don't get the booster pack, you don't get the sleeves, the damage counter, that kind of thing. But it's a really great place to start for competition. That's where, once again, me and my friend, we started after we played a few games and really enjoyed it, we went for the Recollection decks next. That was our next step. So, it's a great place to start, and I would highly recommend it. But, you can also start by just looking up your favorite champion. Maybe you've read through the lore, maybe you've looked at all the champions, and you're like, this looks interesting, this sounds interesting, and then finding builds or deck videos for that champion on YouTube. There is one for all of them. And there are some very, very good content creators. For recollection decks, there's Main Deck Dan and Eva Plays Stuff. Both do really good videos on the recollection decks every time. Talks about the strategy, the cards, what you kind of want to do directly with the cards that come out of the box. And then it gives some upgrade ideas at the end. So that's a really good place to start for those. But once again, there are so many channels that do so many really good deck talks, deck techs, just all this type of stuff for so many different decks that you can really start anywhere. And you'll be able to find something to help guide your deck building. So I highly recommend whatever you start with, whether it's a recollection deck, whether it's, you want to just start with a champion and go from there. Watch a video on it. See how some of the better players are playing that champion, that hero, and get some ideas from that. Some of my favorite channels to shout out here: True Champion Gaming. They have a lot of very, very good players. Caben, Isaac, and Terry are all extremely good players. So they've got the podcast, they've got deck talks, they've got all sorts of stuff. So I highly recommend checking them out. Main Deck does really good, really good podcast as well with the Main Deck Taylor, who is the current world champion of the game. So definitely going to get some good information there. As well as Perfy. Perfy Gaming is another one that I like to watch. He's got a lot of good videos, but he also has a really cool shorts series where he kind of does some he calls it his treadmill coaching, where very quick, very short, just tips and ways to keep improving at the game. Highly recommend that as well. Those are the three channels that I watch the most. And once again, I always get really good information from everybody there. So, highly recommend checking out those kind of videos as you're building. And then once you have a deck or once you've played a little bit and you're starting to get into the swing of things and you're really enjoying it and you want to keep getting better and better, then I recommend, start watching old Ascents. Maybe the more recent ones, they usually have an Ascent. We're getting close to having an Ascent about every month. So there's a lot of high-level competitive Grand Archive, which is available to watch. The most recent ones, as of this video, are Ascent Taipei, right here, and Ascent Boston. Ascent Boston might be, well, I guess both of these might be a little iffy because a card was banned recently after Ascent Taipei that is featured prominently, but other than just seeing what kind of decks are being played, it's really about watching how they play. I mean, that's the biggest part of this game. Rather than just learning the decks, learn how they're being played, how these top players are sequencing and the decisions they're making. That kind of thing is so important in this game. So yeah, watching some of these older Ascents, or some of the old Ascents and the more recent Ascents as they happen, I can't recommend it enough if you're serious about the competitive portion of this game. Speaking of which, the Omni decks, which is where the competitive competition lives, if you will. Every season, you've got your regionals that happen for every different set that drops. You've got locals. Hopefully there's some locals around you. But if not, I know that there's, Yeti is a big, I think Yeti's on here somewhere. Yeah, the Yeti Gaming League. It's a webcam server that does all sorts of events. So highly recommend, if you don't have locals and you really want to play, checking out Yeti. Super cool. They always do some really, really good stuff. But yeah, locals, and then you've got regionals, store championships happen every season, and then the Ascents are the other premier events that we talked about. And as you're playing in these events, you'll be, getting elo, veteran points, um, all sorts of other stuff that is currently slipping my mind. Elo, VP, what's the other? There's the other one. I'm gonna have to look now. Event points, EP, veterancy, elo, and event points, which all contribute to your score, which matters because at the end of every season, they have Omnidex rewards based on your peak rank in the season. So, you get these really nice full art cards that look fantastic. By the way, they're phenomenal looking cards. But based on where your peak rank was, you get one of those, which is super cool. And they also have this really nice organized play program for all of their season guides. And as you can see, it's kind of what we talked about here. You've got the Omnidex ranked system, locals, you get points for locals. Depending on what your rank is, you do get nationals qualification points as well. You've got your store championships and regionals that are the next level up. And then you go to your ascents, which are the big open events. You don't have to be invited, but they're really big and highly, highly competitive events. It's the highest competitive event that you don't need an invite to. And then you've got nationals, which, you have to earn enough points to qualify to make your way to nationals. There's one national championship in each major region each year. Then they have this cool thing they just added recently called the Gauntlet, which is basically a last chance qualifier for Worlds. So if you finish just outside of qualification, you get invited to participate in the Gauntlet with a chance to play your way into Worlds, which is the peak of Grand Archive competition. Like I said, it's the most skilled players with a chance to be crowned the world champion, which happens once a year. So they have a very nice structure. It's super cool. And you can get Sapphire packs, which gives you exclusive foils. Playing in regionals and store championships is a good way to get other national qualifier points. And the cool thing is, the cards you get for winning store championships or being a top qualifier at a regional, which are the smoke bomb and surveil the wins here. Those cards are your qualifying cards. They count as your national qualifying point cards. So each of these gives you a certain number of points towards qualifying, and it's obviously a very, very nice looking card. And if you get into the game and you're really into the rules and the interactions and you want to be a judge, they do have a really nice judge program too. And you can get judge promos for each season. If you're interested in that, there's a judge test that you can take. As you can see on the left here, there's a judge application. So yeah, that's the competitive side of Grand Archive. It's really cool. It's in depth. It's fun. It's awesome. And if you're interested, I do highly recommend getting into it and feeling comfortable getting into it, because the last part we're going to talk about here is the community. Now, this isn't going to be a long section here. This is just going to be pretty straight to the point. The community's been fantastic. I mean, everybody that I've interacted with in the last almost year that I've been playing the game, from locals to regionals to the Ascent to the Discord to making videos to any way that I've interacted with anybody from the community, it's been extremely positive and just it's just an awesome community. Everyone's so upbeat and fun and just like I said, a lot of very, very cool people who are always willing to help. And I think it's one of the best parts about the game, honestly. The thing that keeps me wanting to keep playing is that I know that everybody that I've been interacting with has just been super cool and a ton of fun to be around. So I can't recommend this game enough. Like I said, it's got something for everybody. Casual players, collectors, lore enjoyers, competitive enjoyers. It's got a great community to interact with. And if you're looking to get into the game, there's no better time than right now. A new set's getting ready to come out. We're getting ready to get into spoiler season. If you're looking to jump into competitive, but you're not sure about some of the older recollection decks or what have you, there's a new one coming out December. The release date is December 5th for the next set, I believe. That I might need to be corrected on that, but I think that's correct. So, new Merlin Recollection deck will be coming out there, so maybe wait to get your hands on that and then start with that as your jumping off point. But if you're a new player, then once again, can't recommend this game enough. I think it's going to be continue to grow and continue to be a staple in the TCG industry for a long time to come. So that being said, that's the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, if you're a new player, you found something in here useful or some sort of good information for you. But either way, I really do appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully, you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy. I will catch you all in the next video. Peace out.